Hi, Ben.
Hello, Nigel.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I was trying to call Ben.
That's
Um,
all right.
is Ben there?
It says ringing on my phone, Nigel.
Okay, I'll just wait and see. Okay, Mark, you can hang up, and I'll wait for him to answer.
Okay, Nigel. We'll speak in the next few days or so. But I got your email about reading the thing out. Completely understand. And
Sorry about that.
enjoy today. Enjoy today.
Oh, I will.
Sorry that the rugby. Sorry that the rugby is on when you're broadcasting.
I've recorded it.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Well. Okay. See you. Speak to you later.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Nigel.
Hello, everybody. I'm actually just waiting for um, Ben England to give me a call. I was going to call him back, but I can't find out how I called him. Technology, it's just all beyond me. Ben England, if you can hear me, can you call me back, please? Was it on WhatsApp or whatever? We just want to make sure that we've got everything set up and that the levels and the sync and all the rest of it are okay. But nice to see you all. Oh, lots and lots of people today. Gosh, these messages just sort of race past me. Let's see if I can find one for Ben England. Here we go. Excuse me, everybody. Watching the rugby out of the corner of my eye. I would love to be. Please, please, everybody. Nobody give me the result. I've recorded it and I've recorded it and I'm going to watch it later. And I'm hoping that my children will join me. They're actually watching club rugby at the moment. Now, just let me send Ben England a message. They're watching club our local. Well, not our local side. It used to be our local side when we lived in London. Our local side was Harlequins, and they're at the ground. Here he is. Hello, Ben. Sorry, I don't know why I can't call you on the using that FaceTime thing. But anyway, how does it look and sound?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
It's fine. Are you happy with it?
Yeah.
The person to check is as long as Mark is happy there. But it's looking good to me.
Yep, I think Mark says it's all right. I'll wait for a message here, and I know what to do if we've got to adjust the sync or whatever. Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
Have fun. All the best.
Thank you, Ben.
Cheers.
Take care. Bye
Bye.
bye. That's the amazing Ben England, everybody. Yes, we used to live in West London, and so our local rugby club was Harlequins that we used to go and see. And they're playing right now. Again, don't tell me the result. My daughter is watching it live, but she's under strict orders not to give me the result, so I can watch it later. And it was they were in a very tight game. And then, of course, England are playing Wales, which is always very, very fruity. I never know who to support because I had a Welsh grandmother. So when I played rugby, I sort of I got played county rugby and all that kind of thing, and then I could have chosen to have a go at playing for Wales under 19s or England, and in fact I opted for England, and then didn't get chosen on a trip to France. I got to the last four squads, the last four teams, but anyway, a big passion of mine and my kids actually. My daughter has got a wicked spin pass off both hands, and my son is lightning quick and loves nothing more than scoring tries and loves nothing less than tackling. Anyway, right. How brilliant to see everybody Good. Look, we're all set up. I'm just going to go to my kitchen and grab a glass of water because I sometimes get a little bit dry. All right. So just hold tight, everybody, and I promise I'm not going to peek at the rugby. Thank you, Josh. Can you come in and give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Yeah, I agree. Right, back armed with water, ready for an hour and a half of really hard work. Actually, I told a lie. I did poke my head round the corner, and my daughter is getting more and more angry with the television as she says the ref is only reffing one side, which has kind of given it away as to how Harlequins are doing. But never mind. Still got 9 minutes to go. So, how many people have we got today? I wonder, Mark. Have we got people from all over the world again? I spent the morning doing some video guides for you guys, which I hope will be helpful. Because I noticed that the old track when we recorded it in 2005 is has got some sort of let's call them idiosyncrasies for Norway. Oh wow, brilliant. Muriel Solheim. Where else have we got people from? England, I'm sure. Bonsoir, Nigel and everybody. Might have to leave for 5 minutes to record the rugby. Get it on. Canada. Oh, Mark says Canada, USA, Thailand, Germany, Scotland, USA, Germany. Oh, brilliant. Oh, fantastic. Scotland. Not so fond of Scotland just now because they beat England in the rugby a couple of weeks ago. They played absolutely brilliantly. Played England off the park. And yes, Wales. It's really weird when England play Wales. I'm just in an England shirt, and then if I'm watching Wales play any other game, I'm supporting Wales. And for some reason, I think it's the Welsh blood in me. I get much more het up and sort of passionate when I'm watching Wales play and supporting them than actually when I'm supporting England. It's really weird. And Jackie Handy says, boo. Boo to you too. Is that a yawn? Toronto. Oh, fabulous place. Actually, a guy called actually was it? No, it wasn't Toronto. Although I think he did have somewhere there. It was Montreal, where Jacques Villeneuve, the Formula One driver, who was a neighbour in Switzerland when I went there to ski in the year 2001. I ran a ski chalet. This was my attempt to give up music and have a different life. I say get away from it, just have a break from it, because I'd done music since I was 7, sort of almost every day. The choir that I was in, Solihull Parish Church, in those days, we used to do regularly sort of 4 or 5 services a week, so almost as busy as a cathedral. and then Royal College of Music, Tallis Scholars, Westminster Abbey Choir, Westminster Cathedral Choir, King Singers, and the habit of waking up every single morning. And the first thing you do is sort of go just to see if you've got any voice there. I had decided by the end of the year 2000 it was time to break that habit. Kensington, nice. I lived in Kensington when I first went to the Royal College of Music. I rented a room from a famous art critic called Brian Sewell in his house. I was given a little room at the back of the house, and it was very, very close to the college, which is brilliant. But I had to, in return for full board, I had to walk his 4 dogs whenever he was away on a trip in Hyde Park, and I was instructed that I must let them off the lead, and the absolute rotters, they would all run off, scatter in 4 different directions, and I'd sort of spend a good couple of hours trying to get them all back. Yes, the other thing I had to do, and his house had 7 floors. Can you believe that? And they said, okay, once a week you need to hoover the house. That was part of the deal. And I thought, wow, that can't be too bad. And then the first time I did it, took me 4 hours, I think, to get everywhere. And his elderly mother, bless her, would sort of go around following me, inspecting to see if I'd hoovered the place properly. Brian Sewell, yes, absolutely. He has several plums in his mouth when he spoke, but he was a great character. He was very kind, actually, very supportive in those early years. And I think for many years he sort of, I mean, the rent was incredibly cheap, and he was just very kind. And people like me that had come from outside London, and he had lots of students from Imperial College as well that were allowed to stay there. So you had to be sort of trustworthy and look after the house and his mum and the dogs. When he was away, he was always having sort of fairly renowned artworks delivered to the house. And a little bit of notoriety was, I think, when Sir Anthony Blunt, when it was discovered he was a spy. He was a spy. He holed up in Brian Sewell's house. I mean, I didn't know anything about it, and I played some rugby for Imperial College for a while. And one Saturday morning, I came back, and the press had found out that Blunt had been in basically at this house. And I came back, and I was meant to be doing, well, I was doing evensong at Westminster Abbey, and the rehearsal was 2:00, and I think we'd finished at about, the match had finished at about 12:30, so it was pretty tight for me to have a shower, get back home, get changed, and then go into the Abbey. So I decided just to leg it straight after the match home, and I sort of, in all my rugby gear and covered in mud, saw about 40 or 50 press people outside the house, and had to sort of barge my way to get in. It was really weird. Anyway, I mean, I never saw him at the house, and I don't think he was actually there. I think he'd already cleared off somewhere else by the time the press sort of got wind of it. Anyway, here, look at all these lovely people coming from all over the place. How fantastic. We're nearly there, just a couple of minutes, whilst I ramble away. I wonder if this is what it feels like to run your own radio show, when you're kind of in a room speaking to yourself and you can't hear anybody. You can see the messages and the emails that it sort of ping up, but you're just basically rabbiting on, boring everybody. So, good. Can I just remind everybody, no spoilers, please, for the rugby results. Probably lots of people here want to watch it later, so we're just going to, we're not going to say anything about the score between England and Wales. We're just going to immerse ourselves in Allegri and the Sistine Chapel and some lovely music. Radio Nigel, yes, I can just see that not taking off. Nigel, I think you called the sections with 4 staves, soloists, and the 5 stave sections, choruses. Please, could you explain why? Oh, I think that's... I think it was probably originally just done antiphonally. And the modern sort of version that we have got to know and love, obviously it's much more successful if you only have one person on the top C. I mean, most choirs probably haven't got that many top line singers that can get the top C. So I don't think you'd want to hear sort of lots of people trying to do it. So I think it's probably just become a solo quartet through effectiveness. And of course it does mean that the solo quartet, when you're doing it in a cathedral or somewhere in England, and certainly that's partly why I loved it when I was young, is because you get to walk off into a hidden aisle or something in the building, and then you sing it from a distance, and it's very effective. It still gives me goosebumps. It's one of the services that I loved most when I was a kid. The Advent services, the Advent Carol service in particular, and the Holy Week ones, the ones that were done by candlelight, no electric light, and where we were wandering around the building. Those were kind of really magical. They're the ones that stuck in my mind. Oh, look, it's 5 o'clock, so we're going to get straight on. What I'm going to do today, everybody, is we'll do another little warm-up, just talk through again the things that we need to think about whilst we're singing, relaxing, doing little things that just keep an eye on whether or not we're doing the right things. We're going to go through the score. Now that I've been through it all week with you with a fine-tooth comb, just give you some clues as to things to watch out for when you're recording your own voice part. This is really to do with the original track, the track that my singers, the tenebrae singers, are following. For whatever reasons, and I couldn't for the life of you tell me why. It's a long time ago, 16 years ago, 2005, when we originally recorded it. There are certain, sort of weird things. There's not always a regular gap between chants. I think it's probably my efforts to make all those bits of chant feel as free as possible. So unfortunately, it's probably not helpful now for us sort of coming together trying to follow it. But I've sort of been through it, and, I can tell you where the track sort of suddenly speeds up or it gets slower or anything like that, just so that when you have the video guide, you know what to expect. Right, so first things first, we are going to just sort of shake the leg. If you can stand up, brilliant. If not, just sort of shake your legs, get all the tension out of your feet, and the same with your hands, right, left, just so that we're nice and easy and comfortable when we stand up. Just sort of roll the shoulders. It's always the shoulders, the sort of lower back shoulders, and around here, around the throat and neck, that sort of your jaw can get tense. Your tongue is the biggest muscle in this whole area, and if that gets tight, then we're in trouble. Okay, so just roll the shoulders back on the right and back on the left, and then vice versa. Wow, I'm stiff as a board. Who's been cleaning all the tenebrae candle stands, or some of them, this afternoon, and put them in the car for tomorrow. We're going to St John Smith Square to do a film something for our Holy Week festival, a Palm Sunday sequence. Right, now some neck rolls, just very, very gently. Just going one way and then to the other, very easily. Don't force anything, just let it. Jolly good. Keep rolling those shoulders. And then we're going to just make sure your feet are under your hips, not too close together and not too far apart. And remember the tension. We're going to lock the knees, lock them, and then let them go. lock them, and then let them go. And you want to be doing that every now and again when you're singing. If you're getting tired or whatever, mentally or vocally or physically, anything like that, just try to get in the habit of doing that. Just loosen your lower jaw. Okay, jolly good. And now you're going to stand up and just gently flop forward. And what we want is for I can't do this because I'm obviously talking into the microphone, but just sort of stand up and let your upper body fall forward so that your hands are, ideally touching the floor. I mean, they don't have to be, just as long as they're hanging down and your head is also hanging down on your shoulders. And then we are slowly from your lower back, we're going to straighten up. So your hands and your head are still hanging, just hanging down, and just very, very slowly pull up, straighten your back, and then sort of getting towards the shoulders, and the shoulders come up, and then lastly your head, and then nice and high, and your head should have the feeling that it's floating on your shoulders. Okay, now we're going to do the scrunchy face thing, where everything is shut tight, eyes, mouth, and 1, 2, 3, open, and again, shut, 1, 2, 3, open. That's funny. There's a delay on my screen, so I see what I'm doing 20 seconds afterwards, and I just looked at the screen and I'm just like where's Nigel? Shall we call him louder? What's that about? Louder? Nicky Louder? Do I need to be louder? I'll try not to go away from the microphone. Okay, so now just some gentle buzzy humming. Do not worry about this being beautiful. This is just to get our voices going, get the instrument slowly revving up. Just any pitch you like. And I'm a bit more bassy today, basses. I must have had one too many gin and tonics last night. So my dog is looking on in amazement. My whole family look on in amazement when I try and sing. I have to lock the door. So the buzziness, basically, you know what we're going to do later. We're going to go, okay? And we don't want to lose that. We don't want to let everything drop. So here we go. Any pitch you like, just sliding up and down so that we're not losing any air at all. See if you can do 5 cycles of up and down. Oh, Elijah, louder. Oh, right. Sorry, a bit slow there. Okay, a bit more now. And remember to smile first. Another one. Another one. Now we'll do that one again, and just when we come down, just slowly and gently go to an R vowel, but try not to lose the buzz. And remember to smile before you sing and listen for my breath, so we kind of do it at the same time. Another I might drop out because it's getting too high for me. And now in steps. So we're going to open out onto that vowel just a little bit quicker now. So remember to keep smiling on the R vowel. Don't drop too much on otherwise that sort of encourages the jaw to go down. I'm reading these messages, making sure I ought to ignore them, actually. Just put my hand up and not see them, just in case anybody hasn't got the message about no rugby spoilers. Oh, there we are. I'm out of my range now. Something I was going to say this week, actually, I keep forgetting to say it, but when I was in the King Singers, one thing, one of the Bob Chilcott was saying, sometimes when you've got the beginning of a line, I think it was Bob, I can't remember, but basically you should put your face and your mouth kind of in the position when you're breathing of the vowel you're about to sing. I was thinking about this. I mean, I wouldn't say that's what we should do all the time, but maybe when you've got audituimeo, rather than if you don't do it right at the beginning, it's too late, isn't it, to then lift. It's gone because we're sort of going straight in. So so as soon as we engage the voice, the sound, we're on the right vowel. Do you see what I mean? And the same with E. Miserere. Yeah, do you get the idea? It's too late. Okay, it's going to be our favourite moment of the entire sessions, which is when I try not to slip off my chair, which has got wheels on the bottom. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. Oh, I'm on cracking form. Oh, wow. What a start. Right, focus. Focus, Nigel. Okay, everybody, you're going to breathe with me. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. My Bonnie lies over the sea. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. So bring back my Bonnie to me. Bring back, smile. Bring back, oh, bring back my Bonnie to me, to me. Bring back, oh, bring back my Bonnie to me. Okay, very good. I wonder if we've got anybody joining us that hasn't done any of the previous workshops this week. They'll probably wonder, what on earth is he going on about? Okay, so now that's the song. You're going to listen for me to breathe at the beginning, because that's also one of your tools for making sure we're all together at the beginning when you're recording it. You listen to the track. You'll have your video guide of me, but listen to the track in your headphones or whatever it is you're using, and see if you can latch on to the breath of the singers. So you're going to do that now. We're then going to start in a smiley position with a buzzy M, and we are going to clap on the letter M. Okay? 1. Oh. I tried to clap and knocked my microphone stand. 1 and 2. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. My Bonnie lies over the sea. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. So come back, my Bonnie, to me. Bring back, I mean. Bring back, oh, bring back my Bonnie to me, to me. Bring back, Bring back, oh, bring back my Bonnie to me. There we go. And now we're going to stand up when the first letter B comes along. The next time it comes along, we're going to sit down. Okay, I did read the other day that somebody has a bad back. I would encourage you to sit still. Maybe move your head from left to right, or do something that sort of means you're getting your brain going. Do you remember why we're doing all this? Okay, so you're listening for the breath, smiling, clap on the letter M, and then it's up or down, or left or right, on the letter B. 1 and 2. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. My Bonnie lies over the sea. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. So bring back my Bonnie to me. Bring back, oh, bring back my Bonnie to me, to me. Bring back, oh, bring back my Bonnie to me. Gosh, I nearly forgot the clap at the end. My son's at the side of the room wondering what on earth I'm doing. Not like any of your warm-ups, eh, Josh? Right, glass of water. Stomp your feet on the letter B. Yes, that's a good idea. Shrug shoulders. Yes, you could do that. I do that a lot. Jolly good. So, time for us to start focusing on the Allegri. I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, I never tire of performing the piece or listening to Tenebrae sing it in some of the most amazing buildings that we sing in. And if in the 21st century, with all the sort of entertainment and the technology and wonderful things that we have to sort of stimulate us and make us happy, you think of the vast range of things that can occupy our minds and make us smile and provide us with stimulation. 500 years ago, 400 years ago, whenever it was, sort of beginning of the 17th century, there wasn't any television, films, hardly anything. So other than what you saw, which would have been the then architecture of the time and artworks of the time, the range of things that could provide you with a stimulus must have been smaller, surely. So what must it have been like, if you had the chance to go to the Sistine Chapel and listen to the Allegri? I mean, it must have been mind-blowing. I think, I was trying to think, we're 400 years on, and now there's a vast range of music that's been composed, and we all have our own favourite composers, our favourite eras, and all this kind of stuff, our favourite styles of music, and we can listen to it all day long if we want. But the Allegri had such an amazing reputation that spread across Europe. Mozart had heard about this piece and wanted to go and sort of witness it for himself. And the effect that we have even now, you imagine that magnified by, 100 times 400 years ago. No electric light, by candlelight in the Sistine Chapel. It's no wonder that people were willing to travel all the way across Europe to go and see the artworks and to hear this astonishingly beautiful piece of music. So anyway, yeah, that's a bit of just Nigel ramblings. So we are going to start. Okay, I'll get my score up. So this is going to be a whole series of reminders for everybody. So if they don't apply to you or to your voice part, don't worry about it. Hopefully everything I say will be of some use to somebody. So So tenors, do you remember that first B flat on the track? One of our boys is quite wobbly. You are not going to be like that. I like this piece to be really quite big and solid, impassioned. It's not a sort of humble. It's a much more powerful thing altogether. And Seconda Mania Misericordia, you've all got certain shapes that you need to be thinking about, and at the end of this first chorus, or let's say first choir, the antiphonal thing, the choir on the left, the 5-part choir, just be careful how we open out onto that last vowel. Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, I wonder if that hurt anybody's ears, but that's what we don't want. You've got to smile and open. Sorry, that came out much louder than I meant. Right, so we're going to keep scrolling down through the piece. Tenors, then you're going to do this brilliant bit of... I was thinking, tenors, when you're reading this chant, when I was doing the video track for you, I actually just put a circle round the bit of text that changes. So miserationum tuarum. So that as I'm just reading the text, excuse me, everybody, bit croaky. Dele iniquitatem meam. Because what you don't want to do is slow up before the note that changes. Okay, so just put a circle around the O of miserationem and the tem of iniquitatem. Amplius lava me, altos, you've got to watch me for that squiggle. On your video guide, altos, I've sort of held those 3 beats and then I fling my arms around to try and help you discover where that little twiddle goes. Et peccatum tibi soli peccare. Every time we have a bar of chant or lots and lots of text, if there are lots of crotchets and triplet crotchets, try not to be too prescriptive about it. Always remember the word, excuse me, remember the word recitativo. This means that it goes at sort of speech rhythm. Okay? In some cum judica, we want to enjoy that. And then tenors, you've got this tricky bit of chant on the ecce enim in iniquitatibus. You've got that extra in. It's not a stumble. It's not an accident. It is meant to be there. And it's ecce, e by ek, for the northerners for us. We've got with us. So ecce enim veritatem dilexisti. I'm scrolling down the wrong thing here. Incerta et occulta sapientia. Yeah, this is one of those bits where I think the track is... It looks pretty strict, doesn't it, in bar 52? Incerta et occulta sapientia. The bullet sort of stuff. Don't sing it like that. In the actual stress is on incerta et occulta sapientia. So incerta et occulta sapientia. Just flow through it all. All the top C's will be serene and seraphic. Just remind you that we sing Mickey. We don't sing an H, an aspirate, a sort of he in the middle of the word Mickey. It's like Mickey Mouse. And then tenors in the very next bar, you've got another one, asperges me. Just roll the R a little bit. Just one flick in asperges. Not a big rolled R there. Asperges me isopo et mondabo. No H for isopo. Lavabis, that's another one where you should really have your mouth in your face in the shape of the vowel you're about to sing. Lavabis. And then at the end of bar 61, this is for everybody, you need to be aware that there's a slightly longer gap before the choir come in. I think I've just about got it down to a T on the video tracks, but just be aware. I think the best thing to do is to be confident, follow me and launch in. And if you end up being really out, then for the videos, for the boys to edit, because I don't want you just to go back all the way back to the beginning. Mark, that's actually quite a useful question, isn't it? Me with a useful question? If people make a slip in the middle of something, is it okay if they break the videos up, or have they got to go back to the beginning and do it all over again? we sort of want this all put together before next Christmas, I think. So I'm just wondering, Mark, maybe you would be kind enough to answer that question for us. I think that might also be very kind to the tenors who've got all that chant to get through. Okay, so anyway, whilst we're waiting for Mark to give us an answer on that, bar 62, auditui. It's auditui meo dabis gaudium humiliata. This is the one dynamic variation we have in the piece. Humiliata is less soft. I won't say sort of piano or pianissimo, because everybody's got different things. As long as whatever you would do, whatever level you sing at, you sing it less than the previous bits, okay? And then Benigne fac domine, bar 77, there is a comma. Just wondering if anybody's not been at the previous things, so I'll mention all these things. Benigne fac domine, break, and then pick up and go. In bona voluntate. It's not too quick, but it doesn't hang around. Ut edificentur muri Jerusalem, and then we are into this next chorus, and it's strong, and this is tunc ac cep. So the word ek che ac cep, it's a k and then a ch. Okay, acceptabis sacrificium justitiae, all with a smile. Oblationes holocausta. No aspiration at the beginning of that word. Holocausta. Causta. I've tried to do it in the video without looking too silly. I'm sure I've failed, but causta. You'll hear my singers do it. I should sort of tell you a little bit about the 8 singers. The 4 of them are sort of, every year we take on some associate artists, we call them. They're not apprentices, because we don't pay them sort of half a fee. We pay them the same as the senior singers, a full fee. I kind of think in a choir of 19, if you're one of those 19, then you are having to work jolly hard, and you deserve the same fee as the senior singers, and the senior singers are very supportive of them. So every year we have 4 younger singers called associate artists, and at the moment it's Victoria Mitiard, who's the top soprano, who does the top Cs, and then the second soprano is Hannah King. In fact, we sort of those 2 were so good that I decided to have 2 sopranos rather than a soprano, alto, tenor, bass. And then our tenor is Toby Ward, and the young bass is Joseph Edwards, or Joey Edwards, we call him. And then our senior singers are, well, of course, Victoria and Hannah are both associate artists. So that our 4 senior singers in the team are both altos. Martha McLaurin, the astonishing mezzo-soprano, and then equally divine singer Elizabeth Paul. I mean, it's really quite a powerhouse team, those 2 extraordinary singers. And then the fabulous Jeremy Budd is the tenor, and the bass is William Gaunt. If ever you want to hear a nice recording of William sort of doing his thing, we recorded the Fauré Requiem live many years ago. That's pretty scary, I can tell you. And Will is the baritone soloist, and he's, I remember hearing him when he'd only just come down from King's Cambridge. He was a choral scholar there, and he got the job in Westminster Cathedral. And I think I'd only just moved back from Switzerland to the UK, and foolishly somebody said, look, we desperately need a countertenor, Depp, could you go in? And I went in, and of course I was absolutely hopeless, but I gave him all a good laugh. And then there was this big Elgar anthem called Great is the Lord, and it's got a sensational baritone solo, and this young lad, I mean, he looked about 14. Will still does look about 14, but his big heavy voice certainly doesn't sound 14. And I thought, oh my word, this is absolutely extraordinarily beautiful. And we got him in Tenebrae pretty much immediately, and he's been there ever since. It's wonderful. So there you are. There's a little bit of information about the singers. And then the very final passage we've got to, bar 97, Tenors, you're okay. You only have one line to record, but everybody else, can you sopranos? I guess there are 4 soprano parts, so I wonder what we should do. If you could face it, sopranos, if you could record all 4 parts, do you think that would be possible? Shouldn't take you too long. Just do them individually, and if you say when you send them, just label them as final page soprano 1. And that's for the top line. Second line is soprano 2, and then let's call halfway down the score, the 6th line down, that soprano part is soprano 3, and then soprano 4. Okay, and then if you label them like that, the guys in the studio will know where they need to go and to line them all up together. Is that all right? That's plenty of talking from me now. So I hope that is all okay. And the one last thing to say, bar 97, the first 3 beats are really quite steady, and then it just kicks on. And then at the end, just in a relaxed way, get the L, the voiced L of los, not German, los, ready, so that you just glide to that note. Even if you've got a leap of a 5th or a 4th or whatever, you go as smoothly as possible. Okay, I think we now need to get on and sing the thing, and we'll run the whole thing. Okay. Ya-da-dum. Okay, I'm going to try and count you in the way it is on the recording. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Let's just work our way backwards. So I think that final consonant, if everybody makes it fairly gentle, then when it comes to the SIC gents sort of stitching this together, it'll be much easier, I think, if for them to line it up, if we all make that final consonant quite gentle, and it doesn't need to be quick. Los. Okay, it's expressive, isn't it? Bronwyn's put 3 little fire symbols. Does that mean it's sort of hell and damnation? Right. So the timing in this last line, I'm sure you're listening to it. I'm listening to it thinking, what on earth was I doing? So the tunk is quite slow. Tunk impo. The im seems to be quicker. And then the ponent, or po, seems to be longer. And then on the nentsu, it gets going again. So if you listen to it 2 or 3 times, I think you'll know what to do. Ya-dee-da-da-da. Tenors, just be very careful that stays in pitch. I think you will hopefully remember that I very unkindly was a little bit critical of our boys, that and it's quite often a thing I find with tenors when they're low down. If they're really high tenors, like our tenor boys seem to be, and you get them down there. I suppose it's, anybody singing really low in their range, especially if it's something really important. It's quite difficult to sort of keep it bang in tune, but if you can just really pay attention there, ya-dee-da-da-da, just make sure you do get to the G. Ya-da-da-da-da-tulos. Narrow vowels as well. Vi-tulos. Pitch can always go, or, even you think you're singing in tune on a oo, but something about that vowel can actually make it sound flat outside to other people. And of course, they can hear it much more readily than we can ourselves. Okay, good. Tunk acceptabis. And yes, worth noting, I'm sure most of you have already noticed it, certainly if you haven't written it in your scores. 95, bar 95 into 96, there is a little pull up there, a little ritardando. So just going backwards, ut edificentur muri benigni fac domine. In fact, in bar 77, benigni fac domine breath in, they do pick up pretty quickly. They don't hang around on the rest, but then they don't go too fast, do they? In bona voluntate. So just be aware of that, I think. Okay. Don't understand page 97. 9 parts together. I'll come back to that. So we're just working our way quickly back through the score. Bar 67. Just worth having a look at that, where you've got this extra bit of, well, it's not an extra bit of text, it is just the text, but modern notation dictates that we must have some form to fit it into, so suddenly there's a 6-2 bar there. So, yaditiam et exulta. I think the break is quite generous there after letitiam, and then et exultabunt ossa actually gets a bit of a move on, doesn't it? So you might want to put a little arrow going forward there for me. In chapter 52, bar 52, I realised that, of course, I think I beat the in as something of a little upbeat. That means it comes before the main beat, so it's incerta. So incerta et occulta. So just be aware of that. Almost, if you put a line after the in and then think of the certa as being the main thing. Incerta et occulta. Then the in won't be too heavy. Okay? again, I noticed just in the tenebrae tracks, I'm being horribly critical of my team, but it's perfectly understandable why they do this when they haven't got anybody else around them. But when you've got some of these long lines of repeated notes and lots of text to get through, they just come outside the sort of the pathway of the note. And sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but let's really try and keep it going right through the eye of the needle. Incerta et occulta sapientiae tue. Yeah, that's several of mine are going flat, but you get the idea. Do your best with that. Ecce enim existi, that's all fine. So we're back to the verse tibi soli peccavi et malem. Yeah, that's all fine. Oh, I tell you what I noticed. Bar 37, everybody. We ought to agree what we're doing there in terms of a breath. Could we, I think on the tenebrae track, again, because I wasn't there sort of saying one or the other, that vincas, could we all breathe after it? So altos, it affects you in particular. And if you're not sure how long to make the second syllable of vincas, sopranos, tenors and basses, just imagine that you are going on and singing with the altos, and that will kind of instinctively tell you how long that should be. Vincas. Do you get the idea? Of course you do. Of course you do. You'd already thought of it. You were there way ahead of me. Absolutely wonderful. So everybody breathes after vincas. Make sure you don't bump the last syllable. It's vincas rather than vincas. So just phrase away and imagine that you're going on singing, but we are just taking a little breath there. We've got all that chant. Oh, another one for me bar 22, everybody. Bar 22. Et a peccato. I noticed that this sort of comes in pretty briskly. Anybody else realise that? Et a peccato meo. So I would put a little arrow again over that, just so that you know it's going to move pretty quickly. Amplius lava me, all that's fine, and then the first one is fine. So look, I am just going to, I can just see out the corner of my eye that there are some comments about the last page and the 4 soprano parts. Look, most of those lines are fairly easy, aren't they? You've got if we look at soprano 3 first, the one that starts on an E flat. So that's all fairly easy, isn't it? And then soprano 4. Tunc imponen super altare tum. You can breathe there. Oh, that's horribly flat. So you're kind of on a key note there at the end, sopranos. So just come down that 4th very accurately. Don't hit it too heavily, very smoothly and lightly, and then we'll make sure we're in tune for the B natural. And then going to the second soprano part, that looks pretty easy as well. Tunc imponen super altare tum vitulos. Yeah, I think everybody can work that one out. And then you've got the top soprano part. Do bear with us, altos, tenors and basses. Don't go off to the bar just yet. You've got this rhythm here, which with the sort of rhythmic idiosyncrasies of the original recording might be worth just quickly going through. So it's tunc 2 3 imponent super altare tum Okay, everybody notice that little delicate slip into falsetto there? Oh God. So we've got those fourths. Those notes, sopranos, you might think they're tricky, but they shouldn't be tricky because the G's that you're going to go to from the C's are already in the chord below, and so are the D's. Per altare tuum. I think it would be worth just topping and tailing that. Could we get so altos, whatever part you sang on that last run through, this time do the other part. Likewise, basses and tenors. I actually don't mind if you all sing the tenor part again, because I like it to be quite firm and fruity in that last line, especially the ya-dee-dee-dee-dee. Okay, so here we go. This is the last. This is bar 97. All the sopranos are on that note. Altos are on the other one of those two. That's the G, that's the flat. Tenors. And then all basses are on the C. So all sopranos were on soprano 1 this time. Da, 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 da. Okay, I'll find it on the track and then we'll go. Good. Yeah, in fact, at sopranos, when you come to record that, if you look to the third line down, you'll hear the altos per alto. They hit that D on the fourth beat, and if you listen to that, that is the note you're going to. Per altare. You'll just hear, if you listen out for it, I reckon you'll be all right with that. The other three parts are relatively easy. I just noticed a message in the corner of my eye once more saying that it's gin and tonic time already in Madrid. I think it's always gin and tonic time in Madrid. Tenebres sung in Spain, obviously, lots and lots. We used to do sort of fairly significant tours. I think in 2008, when there was that banking crisis, all the banks, I mean, even in the UK, although the UK were never quite as generous in terms of corporate sponsorship for the arts, Spain was wonderful, and in 2008 it all came to a grinding halt with the banking crisis. But I think we did a couple of wonderful tours, sort of 5-6 concerts in 2004, 2005 and 2006. And what was this? Oh yeah. There was a sort of there was definitely a gin and tonic time. It was after the concerts, of course. There's a gin called Larios, I think, and they always used to pour it from really high up. Sort of, I don't know why. Maybe it aerates it, oxygenates it, and makes it more alcoholic. I don't know. Certainly had the desired effect on me, that's for sure. Anyway, so where to breathe? I can see somebody saying Anya Hubel. You can breathe anywhere you like. Just oh look at that, Lisa Mitchell, top of the class. What I want you to do, you breathe wherever you like, but just make sure you don't use up all your air the last bit and then sort of get to the point where you're going to gasp for air, because otherwise we're going to hear it on the tracks. Breathe earlier and sort of get out of the sound smoother. Take a silent breath if it's one in the middle of a line, and then come back in delicately. Yeah, that's the same for all parts and really for all Renaissance music. I would, as a professional singer, I think I remember being complimented on my breath control, and I took it actually as a real compliment that my staggered breathing was just really smooth, because I had terrible breath control. I was like an old windbag, and I was always taking 3 or 4 breaths when everybody else would manage with 1 or 2. But I obviously sort of got it down to a fine art, and fooled the conductor into thinking that I wasn't breathing at all. And of course, it's nice for an audience as well when you see a choir doing something like this. Well, you see all these singers doing that. Stagger breathing became slightly more difficult when I was in the King Singers, when you're only on 1 to a part. I was staggering with myself. Stagger like a drunken man. What's that line from? They that go down to the sea in ships. Anyway, so look, we ought to do this all again. Ya da da. I'm just going to wind my score back up to the top. Tenors, I will try to bring you in. I'm sort of juggling with my score half the time, but this time I might sort of stop waving, and make sure I'm in time to get the tenors in for each of their plain chant verses, if that's all right with everybody. Basses, how are those low notes coming on? Yeah, I'm much more bassy today. Wow, horrible, truly awful. Right. Yadidi. That is a G minor triad. Sopranos, second sopranos, altos, tenors, basses. Sumption, they that go down to the sea in ships. That's the one. Herbert Sumption. And stagger like a drunken man. Anyway, so here we go, everybody. Are you ready? You're going to listen for the breath, smile, even though it's a miserable psalm, and we're going to sing it. Nice, solid, steely wall of sound for this. And I want to hear those tenors and altos crescendoing to the end of bar 2, remember? Okay, here we go. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. I'm going to practice giving you that count again of 4. It does work, doesn't it? If basically I press the go button on 4. So, yeah, that's a G. The alto track is just slightly flat, but don't say anything to anybody. Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wonderful. You probably notice quite often at the ends of phrases that are soft or a diminuendoing, and like the very end there, I quite often move my hands. It's because I don't want you to ever sort of think, too low. If I stay stationary, low, it's like the music has kind of stopped. And I think singers generally, I'm sure you will agree with this, they don't like to kind of feel that whatever they're singing isn't moving forward or isn't going to something, even if it's a final note. It's got a journey, it's got a shape. So that's why I nearly always, if it's a big strong chord, I'll actually no, even then I sort of drive my hands towards the singers to keep the energy going. But if it's kind of piano at the end, do you get the idea? And I've mentioned this to several of you. I like this idea of, the note has a form, and that you're kind of putting it in the air of a building like King's College Chapel, and it's in a bubble there, and you're sending it on its journey rather than just, which is kind of dead, really. It's making music by numbers, which is never a good thing. So there were two things I noticed that I want to say. Just going back. I think one thing was bar 80. This is on page 8. In bar 80, can I just remind the altos? See that on the track, Lissy takes a breath, and so she's quite late on that fourth beat there. I would like you to go through and make sure the G, so it's C, that's so that sopranos kick off that, and then you're in. So how can I demonstrate that? C, da, da. Okay, everybody got that? That's worth noting. And then another one was, actually it's 68. No, it's not. It's not. That is piano. It was a Jeremy Budd thing. Where was it, Jeremy? Oh yes, I know. In bar 37 on page 4, everybody. Bar at the end, not at the end of bar 37, but Vincas. I think it's actually the tenors that sort of go too long on the track. So tenors in particular. Remember, Vincas. You have to imagine you're going on with the altos. So don't sing it sort of quite loudly and strongly and full length like Jeremy does. Or it might be Jeremy and Toby, but whatever you do, everybody's going to take a breather there. Just phrase, put a diminuendo mark over Vincas so that we all do the same thing. And imagine you're going to go on, and then that will tell you where that little S is going to go. I have to say, I probably break out an allergic reaction with conductors that go Vincas. It's a crotchet, and it's a crotchet rest. That's making music by numbers for me, and I'm afraid it's never kind of worked. It's like a mathematical formula, and there you are, you've got music. But music is so much more than that. That's nuts and bolts, which anybody can do. We should always sing. We have to do the nuts and bolts, of course, and agree that we're going to breathe there. But if you tie it down and say, okay, it's a quaver off here, blah, 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 then it remains nuts and bolts. If I say a breath, then everybody listens for it in tenebrae and they shape it accordingly. And then it's kind of a natural thing. And I much prefer that. I hope that makes sense. Somebody's saying, so can I not sing tenor and bass? That's for Mark, isn't it, to decide, can people submit 2 lines if they've got an extraordinarily big range and can sing... They could sing alto. You never know. There might be somebody. Did you see what I mean about bar 22? Et a peccato me. For some reason, I was, obviously in a bit. Actually, I didn't stand with the solo quartet when they recorded this. I remember my wife on the original recording, who sings the top C's. We recorded it in St Jude's, Hampstead. And I wanted this effect that the solo quartet were quite a long way away. So we moved them. I think it was Matthew Brooke, and a countertenor called Ben Turner, a soprano called Julia Doyle, and then Grace Davidson on the top part. And I said, look, I'll sort of just make sure you can see me. And apparently Grace had said to the others, no, let's go around the corner so he can't see us, because she didn't like it when I sort of was looking at her while she's singing the top C's and beating, and they just took care of themselves, actually, and it was terrific. But for whatever reason they decided to get a move on. Okay. So it is 6:10. Before we just sing it one more time, any specific moments, do you want to flag it up in maybe capital letters? If there's something that anybody's struggling with, I'm very happy to quickly go over it again. We don't want to take too much time, but I'm very happy to do that. As I've said before, at the end of each session, I think this self-isolation choir is an extraordinary thing. Absolutely brilliant for keeping people in touch. And I don't know how many members you've got now, Mark, but once the pandemic is through, I hope this really keeps going and grows. I just think it's an amazingly good thing for people to mix, and even with just the advantage of a keyboard, to feel like we're in touch with each other. It helps empathy, sympathy, makes us better human beings if we're always aware of other people and those that are in difficulty. And as I say that, just in capital letters, Wiggly Bits, page 20, crops up. So there was a serious message there, but page 20, or do you mean bar 20? Stop. Let's have a look. No, we don't go up to page 20, so maybe you mean bar 20. Yeah. Nothing specific, just need to practice. Oh, who's that? Who said that? It's just about to disappear. Nicky somebody. Marvellous. I'll get you to talk to my son about practice. See if that's a nut you can crack that nobody else has managed. Right. So the squiggly bits. So bar 15. This is the solo quartet. It's the choir, 4-part choir that's in the distance. Amplius lava me. I will do the second soprano part first. So this is Amplius lava me. Ab iniquitate me. That's that rhythm there. Dum, da, 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 da. It starts on the second beat of the bar, the little squiggle. Everybody get that? Just once more. 2, 3, 4. And then altos for you. There's a G. This is bar 20. 2, 3, 4. So the squiggle, the little twiddle, starts on the 4th beat, not before. And don't do what I just did, which is an unforgivable sin, which is count the beats with your voice. Yeah, don't ever do that, please. Grace Davidson is one of my favourite sopranos. I'll tell my wife that. She'll be absolutely delighted. So hopefully those are the only two parts there that have got a twiddle, squiggle, what do you call it? Quite a few requests for bar 20. Okay, we've just done that. I think the sopranos, top sopranos and the basses can manage bar 20. Shall we do that with the track? Let's go from Amplius Lava Me. So I think it's about here. Here, top sopranos, second sopranos, altos, basses. Second sopranos, altos, there. Okay, let's try that once more without me yakking all the way through it. I'm going to count. Okay, good. Just seen tenors. Request for tenors at the end. V. I bet this is not because they actually need to do it. I bet it's just because they want to do it. Because it is one of the best bits of the whole piece. So tenors. You've got that octave leap. This is bar 97 I'm starting at, everybody. Do sing along anyway. And then in bar 99 tenors you've got to go up a fourth, but the C is already there in the chord. Ya dee da 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 dee dee. Hopefully that octave is pretty easy to find. It should be ya dee dee fi tu lo. Oh, running out of breath. And just be aware, tenors, I give the fourth beat quite obviously at the moment to everybody because most of the parts are moving there. And then I give an extra little beat for you, okay? On your video guide, tenors, I give a gentle fourth beat then, and then I'm able to sort of dee 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 two laws, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So could we face everybody doing the last line? So yeah, is the top soprano part. Going from the top in the chord, the E flat, which is soprano 3, is yeah, and then soprano 1 and soprano 4 are on that note, and soprano 2 is on that note, alto 1 is on the E flat, alto 2 is on the G, tenors on the G, all basses on the C. Gosh, I hope you managed to make some sense of all those notes. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Ya dee dee. Okay, tenors. Fi tu los. This week I've talked about harmonics. I think on this chord, I was just listening out for it then, that bottom fifth is kind of a foundation in choral singing in particular, and strings as well. And if they're really in tune, the do, do, and they're nicely balanced and it's exactly the same vowel, you will hear another note, you'll hear a harmonic, and it'll be that note up there. Don't know, it's just science. It is. It's bum ba dee. Sometimes if you're walking around in the countryside and somebody's got a lawnmower or something mechanical, if there's a loud sort of low beat, just listen to it and see if you can hear the fifth. Quite often you should be able to hear, the fifth. And sometimes we had a neighbour out recently, and they're having their pond done or something to it. And there was I was taking our dog for a walk, and I was going, oh. And my wife looked at me sort of going, what? And I said, listen to that. And she said, but it's a chainsaw or something. And I said, yeah, but look, you can hear the perfect tenth. Bum ba dee. And she walked on a little bit faster, got further away from me. Anyway, let's do that once more, please. I can't hear the tenors oin those last two bars, so I've made it up till now. Oh, don't do that. Tenors, I'm going to sing your part, okay? That last line. If everybody just bear with us. Tunc imponen su per altare tuum Oh God, what it must be to have a voice and to be able to sing, you lucky guys. Okay, we have enough time to just run it once more. I think that's it. Okay, Mark. Right, here we go, everybody. Try and get this count in. Right, just have a listen to the tempo at the beginning. Oh, just trying to line up the track, but the screen keeps disappearing and going to some Minecraft, which my son plays. Anybody have children that play Minecraft? I do not understand it. I just don't understand it, but there we are. Have a listen to the pace at the beginning. Okay. So I'll count in 1, 2, 3, 4. Terrific. Remember to speak into the microphone. Terrific, everybody. Hopefully, tenors, that helped at the end there. There is a 2/4 bar snuck into that last line, isn't there? I mean a 2/2 bar. So as long as you make sure you know where that is, you'll be fine. Right. I think that is it, everybody. Thank you, everybody, so much for your time this week. As I say, I think the self-isolation choir is an absolutely splendid thing. Splendid isolation choir. Maybe you rename yourselves once the pandemic is over. But it's been a real joy. And, personally, I don't want to well up, but it's been very moving to feel like I'm connected with everybody, making music. It's tomorrow is going to be the first day that Tenebrae have been together since the very beginning of December. And I know there'll be tears and whatever, when we start singing, and we'll sort of get over that sort of release, if you like. But we do this because I think we're good human beings. We love singing, and if you sing in choirs, nothing. I'm not saying anything negative or derogatory about opera singers or all the rest of it, but they obviously, for what they do, they have to focus on themselves. And I think singing in choruses is just a wonderful activity. It brings human beings closer together, makes us more aware and sympathetic to our fellow human beings, increases empathy, and that can only be a very good thing. And even if we're doing it remotely like this, then I think it's a very special thing and worthwhile doing. And as we can see, it's bringing people together from all sorts of different countries and backgrounds, but within the comfort of our own home. And I think that's a brilliant thing. So I don't know how many members you've got now, Mark. I asked earlier, but maybe it's 15,000. But I hope in a year's time there are 150,000 people that belong to this, because it's clearly you're sending out wonderful messages all the time. The positivity, the encouragement is brilliant, and that's what we all need. For our children. Yeah, I know, Josh. Yeah, all the time, and to each other. This is the way forward. This is the way things improve. And I say that with a degree of humility and also by way of a confession. In my early years, I think I said to several of you, I used to have the approach where I felt I had to grip music making to get control of it, and it was really born out of insecurities, my own insecurities, nothing else. And we made fantastic music together, and the singers put up with it. I mean, I don't know why they always came back for more, but I've definitely changed as a human being, and I think you can still make brilliant music together and still have a real intensity to it, but just by being encouraging and always positive and understanding. And funnily enough, I think these days we have a much more collective effort, and that's the way every choir should be, I think. We're all human beings after all. Anyway, it's been a brilliant week. Thank you to Mark for this wonderful invitation to work with you all, and I can't wait to hear the final results. I hope those video guides aren't too off-putting. But yeah. And one last thing, in our Holy Week festival this year, we are singing, I hope you don't mind me saying this, Mark, on the Wednesday of Holy Week, we're doing a live stream from St John Smith Square where we are singing the Allegri. We'll be doing all of it. We're doing a sort of shortened version, but because it's part of a Tenebrae service, we'll be doing all of it. It's at, I want to say, it's 6:30. It's at 6:30, and if you felt like listening in, it's free to anybody that wants to have a listen. Then it would be brilliant just to know that lots of you are tuning in. There are services actually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and there's one on Palm Sunday, and a concert. So lots going on there. But if you have listened to those, also look at the Tenebrae Unlocked films. Lots of lovely stuff there that we recorded in isolation with all the singers 2 meters apart. Gosh, that was difficult, especially when we did the big Russian stuff. Singers who are 40, 50 feet apart, trying to sing complicated stuff and together. I mean, I had to really conduct for once. Right. Love you and leave you. That's it. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care. Look after yourselves. And if you can, have fun. If you can't, just be good. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you, Mark and Ben. Ben England, a special thank you to you for all your help with the technicals. Absolutely amazing guy. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everybody.